Okay, so we're doing our last set of notes, 7-5, which is slope-intercept form from a table or graph. So now we're going to start figuring out what the rule is that goes with each situation. So Mr. Brust talks a metric ton in his videos, and the other algebros try to convince him to cut back. His first video was 27 minutes long, but he says he'll cut back 2 minutes each video. So let's think about initial value. We're going to really talk about initial value a lot because it's going to help you when you're doing these. So the first thing we need to do, where are you starting at? So his first video was 27 minutes, and then the rate of change is how much is that changing, and in this case we have minutes. So the two things we're dealing with is videos. So we can go ahead and label over here. We've got videos that are going on, right? And then the minutes that those videos are. So why don't we just call them V's and M's, okay? So before he's made any more videos, his first video was 27 minutes long, but he's going to cut back 2 minutes each video. So what's going to happen? Well, that's going to make it decrease by 2 minutes per video, okay? Per is a big thing with rate of change, so I want you to keep that word in mind. So our initial value is going to start at 27. And then every time he makes a video, he decreases by 2. So the next video we decrease by 2, so 27 minus 2 would be 25. Then we're going to take away another 2 and get 23. So by the time you get to the third video, it's only going to be 21 minutes long. So in order now to put this in slope-intercept form, which is what we have here, but we're going to flip that around. It's been a while, but we're going to change. We are going to kind of start a new thing, and we're going to call that y equals b plus mx. We're going to flip it around. I think it's going to be easier for you to graph. I think that it's easier to remember. So you can think of a BMX bike. Those are like those motocross bikes. So y equals b plus mx. It's exactly the same as this. It's just we change the order of the mx and the b. The b being your y-intercept or your initial value, your starting point, and the m is your slope or your rate of change and how it changes as your x changes. Okay, so now let's write our whole equation. We're starting, in this case, with 27, and we're let me change, sorry, let me make sure we've got the right variables going on. So the minutes are going to equal our initial 27 minus 2 minutes per video. So video is going to be our input, minutes is going to be our output. When we graph that, we would have, let's say each of these lines is worth 3, so we could go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the 9th one. That would be at 27, and then it's going to decrease by 2 each time. So you would have something that looks like that. Okay, when you have negative slope, it's going to go downhill. We've talked about that quite a bit. If this was a positive slope, our line would be going uphill. Okay, so there's some really pretty easy steps to find an equation in slope-intercept form. And all we're going to do, there's really just 2 steps. So the first one is find your initial value. And all you have to really figure out is what is your starting point. Okay, we're also going to remember that this is actually the y-intercept. Okay. The second thing you do is figure out how is the situation changing. We call this the rate of change, or the slope. Okay? And remember that the word per is important. That it's $12 per person. It's 6 days per week. Okay? So remember to include that. So, if you can remember those two things, right? What is the starting point? So your initial, oh, sorry about that. Not what I meant to do. Your initial value and the rate of change. Those are the two things that you need to know. Okay? So let's find the equation of that line. So for this one, we know that, and we can assign letters to this too. So our slope is always going to be that m value, okay? And y-intercept is b. And I know that's where sometimes you can get confused on what is what, and that's why I really want to start using that initial value. So your y-intercept is where everything starts. So in this case, ours starts at -6, and then it's changing. So let's call this what that is. That's your initial value. And this is the rate of change. So we start with -6, and then we change by 4 every time the input changes by 1. Okay? You can also write that y equals 4x minus 6. And all I'm doing is flipping the position of those two, but the value is the same. I've got -6 as my constant, that's my starting point, and 4x, 4 is my rate of change, times whatever value I'm inputting there. So these are equivalent equations. Okay. Okay, what is an equation of this line? So remember, we still need the same things. We need to know an initial value, which I've got right there. And I need to know the slope, which I can figure out by making that triangle from point to point. And I see that this side is 2 and this side is 3. And remember that our slope equals the change in our y over the change in our x from point to point. So in this case, it's 2. And if you want to think about it, it's your vertical change over your horizontal change. Okay? So now I also know for this one that my initial value, where that line crosses the y-axis, it's starting on the y-axis right here at -1. So I'm starting at -1, and then I'm changing by 2/3. So again, you can write it like that, or you can flip the order of these two, and you would have y equals 2/3 x minus 1. Good. Okay, so example 3, what's the equation of a line that passes through these 2 points? So one thing I really want you to remember is that when I say where does it start, it always starts on the y-axis. And anything that's on the y-axis, a y-intercept, we now know has an x value of 0 and whatever that y value is. So I'm already given that here with this point. So in this case, our initial value is -8. Okay? I haven't put anything into the machine yet, right? I haven't put anything in because that value is 0, but I'm already getting -8 out. Okay, so we know that. Now what we don't know is our rate of change. But since we're pretty good at slope now, we can figure that out. So remember that your slope equals the change in your y's over the change in your x. So from, in this case, we have -3, 1, and 0, -8. So from 1 to -8, we're going down. So we have negative, and it's going down by 9. 1 plus 8 is 9. From -3 to 0, we're increasing, and we're going up by 3. So the slope of that line is -3. So the two values that you need, you've got right there, and then you can write your equation. Sorry, I should have left more room to do that, but that's okay. So we'll write it up here. We're starting with -8, and then it's decreasing by 3 each time. Or, again, you can flip that around. All right, y equals -3x is our change when we had a starting point of -8. Okay. Write an equation for the linear function with the given values. Now these are f of x functions, which we haven't done a whole lot of yet. But what ends up happening is this value in that parentheses is actually your input, and then this is your output. So essentially, this is your x value, and that's your y value. So we can write those actually as coordinates. So we have 0, -2, and 4, -3. It's just a different way to write a function. So again, because you've got this 0, -2, that's going to be your starting point. So y equals -2. Now you just have to figure out your change, your slope. So you can do it just like this. So from 0 to 4, oops, sorry about that. So from 0 to 4, our horizontal change is increasing by 4, and our vertical change is decreasing by 1. From -2 to -3 is a change of -1. So then we need to find our slope, which is going to equal -1 over 4. So we have -1 over 4 times x. If you want to write it in the opposite order, you could do that, and you would have -1/4 x minus 2. Either one of those is okay. Okay. Oh, I just wrote over my... wrote over the next question. Let's not do that. Okay. So, number 5. The initial fee, ooh, that's a big word right there, initial fee to have a website set up using a server is $48. It costs $44 per month. Oh, wait a minute. Miss V told me to pay attention to the word per month to maintain the website. So really, you guys, when you're looking at these word problems, you don't need the rest of this. All this is extra information that you really don't need to know. Okay? The initial fee is $88. And it's $44 per month to do whatever they're going to do to the website. This is the only thing you need to know. Okay? So you know that your bill, so let's just use C for cost, starts at $48 just to set up the website. And then every month you have it, it's going to increase by $44. Okay? So here's your initial value, which is right there. And your change per month is $44. Okay. So now the total cost of setting up and maintaining the website for 6 months. So again, you just need to find total cost for all this for 6 months. Well, if I'm using M, I know it's going to cost me $48 no matter what, just to set up the website. And it's $44 per month. So you could do $44 for the first month, for the second month, for the third month, and you could do that all the way until you had 6 of those. But the easier way to do that, much easier way to do that, right, is using the formula that we have above, which is $44 per month for 6 months. So I can just multiply that. So the cost is $48 44 times 6 is 264. And so our total cost should be, let's see, that's a 12 and a 15 and a 3, $352. Okay. All right. I would like you to try those on your own and see if you can come up with those functions, and then we will talk about those in class. Thanks.